Woody is always trying to do something. Throughout nearly the entire movie, he tries to get back to Andy, and then he tries to get to Bonnie's house at the end. The only scenes that are necessary for Woody's arc are the scenes at Andy's house, Bonnie's house, and the dump. However, the movie spends a lot of time at Sunnyside, when that isn't relevant to Woody's arc. Also, the entire subplot with Spanish Buzz doesn't tie in, since Buzz still follows Woody's instructions and he goes back to normal when they are still in the garbage truck. The theme is that being played with is more important and fulfilling than being stored in the attic. Once upon a time, there was a toy named Woody. Every day he sat in the chest, not being played with, planning to be put in the attic. But one day, he ends up at Bonnie's house. Because of that, he gets played with for the first time in years. Because of that, he realizes how important it is to be played with. Until finally, he accepts his departure from Andy and convinces Andy to donate the toys to Bonnie. Meanwhile, there's an entire other plot involving Sunnyside and Lotso. There are too many plot-relevant characters. Woody, Buzz, Andy's other toys, Lotso, Ken, Barbie, Lotso's gang, Andy, Andy's mom, Bonnie, Bonnie's toys, Daisy, Big Baby, and Chuckles. Woody is comfortable with him and the other toys sticking together even if they aren't being played with, and he is faced with the other toys leaving him in order to get played with. The ending is that Woody is now happily owned by Bonnie. This is not what anyone had planned at the beginning or middle of the movie, where Woody wanted to remain with Andy and everyone else wanted to go to Sunnyside. When the idea of this movie was pitched to Pixar, there was already a complete script written by Circle 7 Animation. The directors at Pixar decided to reject it and start over in order to ensure that the story was good. It isn't very realistic that Bonnie's mother would let her take Woody instead of returning him to the lost and found at Sunnyside. The children who grew up with the first two films are now teenagers and young adults, making this a very fitting year for the film's release. As I explained in point 8, the writers completely and fully replaced the script of the film to ensure that it would be good. Back in 2005, there were plans for an alternate Toy Story 3 by Circle 7 Animation where Buzz was recalled. This doesn't work since the viewers can't relate to the conflict as much. Throughout most of the entire movie, Woody's opinion is that he should go with Andy to college and Andy's other toys should stay in the attic. The premise of this movie was explicitly set up in the second film with Stinky Pete telling Woody that he wouldn't last forever. Woody has every right to be mad at the other toys for not believing him about Andy intending to put them in the attic, especially since Woody was the only one who knew what was happening. If Woody doesn't succeed, then he will be separated from all of Andy's other toys, who will end up trapped at Sunnyside or in the attic. As I explained in points 8 and 12, there was already an alternate version of this film in production by a different company before Pixar started work on their version. Woody's final test consists of writing Bonnie's address on the toy box, which convinces Andy to donate it. This goes against all of Woody's philosophy throughout the last 3 films. It sure is convenient that A, Woody runs into the chatter telephone who knows everything about how Sunnyside is run, and yet Woody doesn't suspect that he is one of Lotso's spies. And B, Mr. Potato Head is able to distract the monkey and Lotso's agents who don't see or hear Slinky Dog escaping. This movie is the building blocks of being a sequel to a popular and beloved movie and being a Toy Story movie, but this film actually finishes what the first movie started as opposed to setting up a completely unrelated plotline. As I explained in point 10, the children who could identify with the first 2 films can now identify with the third film. Woody is played with for the first time in years, which shows him how important it is to be played with, and so he accepts his departure from Andy and convinces Andy to donate him and the other toys to Bonnie. Again, no mention of the giant plotline involving Sunnyside and Lotso.